Hi there everyone, my name is Alexandra Corey Toru and I will be doing my final presentation on Dr. Judah B. Axe. As you can see, Dr. Axe went to Ohio State University to get his master's in the arts and special education and then went on to get his doctoral degree in ABA. He is currently an associate professor of education and behavior analysis at Simmons College. His passion is working with children with communicative and verbal troubles as well as challenging behaviors. The first article I'm going to briefly talk about, Dr. Axe was very passionate about, and I feel this is one of his big contributions to our field. It's the effects of pre-session pairing, and pre-session pairing is basically removing the child for just a small amount of time because the children are acting out and they're not ready for the next transition, let's say, or the next lesson to come. So they're pulled away from the activity and then they are doing what they want to do for 2 to 3 minutes. They have many options and they can ask the observer who's with them to do whatever they want, and the observer has to say yes. So this kind of brings a calmness to the child, knowing that they do have some control, a part of their day, and that this will lead to when they go back into the classroom that they can follow the rules and feel more in control of themselves. And the study was used with 3 children. Ariel was 9 years old and Jonah and Susanna were 11 years old, all on the spectrum of autism. So you can see that Ariel here, all of our kids were using some sort of escapism or challenging behavior to not do the assignment. However, while the trial and throughout the trial, you can see Ariel went through a little bit of trouble during the trial process. The article didn't really specify what happened. She just wasn't at a few sessions for a few weeks. So you can see that it really affected, and she actually spiked back to her normal behavior. But of course, with that reinforcement of being able what to do when she wanted to do was encouraging for her. And you can see that the majority of Jonah and Susanna's results were kind of extinguished. The behavior just kind of stopped, which was wonderful. So in the end, the students' challenging behavior minimized significantly. The next article is about matrix training, and this one is pretty cool. I wanted to define matrix training, and it's a generative approach to instruction in which words are arranged in a matrix, as you see in this box, so that some multi-word phrases are taught and others emerge without direct teaching. So what's really great about this is that we're kind of using equivalence in a way, that we are teaching the children specific routes that, apart from this chart, you can teach a child that this car is blue and that boat is red. What you hope to do in this matrix is you want to directly teach blue car, red boat, and from this matrix and from the students generalizing the information, you want them to essentially flip. So you want them to go red car, blue boat. And surprisingly, the end of the experiment, students actually learned more from indirect teaching than actually direct teaching. So I thought that was pretty cool, especially with preschoolers. Super intuitive. I loved this article a lot. The next article is a comprehensive inclusion program for kindergarten children with autism spectrum disorder. So one of the big questions in this field is, should children with disabilities be included or excluded from the classroom? Well, in order to have this all and get the final results, as you can see that the findings are consistent with reports of success for inclusive programs for preschool children with autism spectrum disorder. For this all to go down, this article had a really great model, and it's ideal. Even as a teacher, I wish for this model, and I try to do it in my own teachings. But for this to all work, children should be in full day programming. I know not everyone can afford it, but children should be at school from beginning to end of the day for optimal learning. The inclusion process. Now, when children with disabilities are being taken out of the classroom, they're actually missing the lesson. So if you have a special education teacher in the classroom, they can be the additional hand for the general education teacher and the general education curriculum. This is a part of the universal design of learning. All lessons should be accessible to your students with disabilities and to your students without disabilities. I'm a really great I'm a really great advocate of this. And then evidence-based strategies. What works really well for diverse learning cultures? You have kids from all different areas coming into this classroom. How are you going to make the information relatable to them? Then there's behavior management. And what goes with it is teacher training. And that's how will teachers handle this? What are the proper procedures? What are the consequences for all of this? So I really also liked this article, and the more I got to read more about Dr. Axe, I really started connecting with his work. The next interesting article is about childcare and childcare development. So this was all about the connectivity between a child and its mother and a child and the person who's taking care of them during the day, and of course the child and their family. And it says, can placing your child in childcare affect their relationship with their family? The article concludes that no, family relations did not change. However, the great part about putting your child in childcare, if you can afford it, is that they're being exposed to letters and sounds and numbers and all of the wonderful skills that help them to grow as a person. So this article had nothing but high praises for putting child in daycares and putting parents at ease. The last article was also interesting. It was about using video modeling to teach children with any kind of with autism to respond to facial expressions. So adults would help children model facial expressions, but they would be using a video. So the teacher would play the video, then you would have to model the feature or the expression, and there were 8 expressions: approval, boredom, calming, disapproval, disgusting, impatient, pain, and pleased. And you would want that for your student. So I really learned a lot throughout this whole process of researching, and I really liked seeing how some things that I use in my classroom, I didn't even know were actually things. Sometimes I think I'm just making stuff up, but I've had a great time researching Judah Axe, and I really actually do hope to meet him one day and ask the questions for my paper. So thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation of learning, and hopefully that you have learned something useful to take onto your next class.